So we'd like to know what is the difference between a reciprocating and a gas turbine engine, and how is a reciprocating engine better vis-a-vis a gas turbine engine?
Good question. These are two different technologies. In gas turbine, in a layman's language, if I say that you put gases at high pressure into a turbine and it turns a turbine and then you generate power. In a reciprocating is like a car engine. So reciprocating engine can be started and stopped at any given time.
Internal combustion.
Internal combustion engine. And here the reciprocating engine can come parallel to the grid within 6 minutes time. So it is very, very flexible. The second major difference in a reciprocating engine and a gas turbine is that there are two types of technologies. One is the open cycle. That means you simply produce power from the engine or the turbine without a secondary application. With a secondary application, I mean is that you generate steam and then with that, generate more power. Now, to have flexibility, what I was talking of, because our load curve going up and down to meet the peak load requirements, for example, the flexibility can come only if it is an open cycle system. And in an open cycle system, a reciprocating engine like our technology can give an efficiency of something like 43, 44, 45%, vis-a-vis a gas turbine of 30, 32, 33%. So there is a clear, significant demarcation in terms of the efficiency, which is more in case of reciprocating engine. So when it comes to the question of flexibility, then reciprocating technology is the most superior technology. And for varying load requirements, these recip engines are very important. Second thing is that our technology doesn't require any water, because all the cooling is based on radiator. So we call it run high and dry, because when the altitude goes up, the efficiency takes a drop. In reciprocating engine, the drop in efficiencies or loading is much less as compared to the gas turbine. So these are some certain subtle differences.
Right. So given the fact that gas is now going to come in CGD networks as well, and there's going to be there are talks of a huge gas network in India, is it possible for distributed generation to actually reach housing colonies, where entire housing colonies can use a distributed generation solution?
Yes, in a way today, if you look at all the housing colonies have these reciprocating engines today as a backup power. But these are the high-speed engines which use high-speed diesel.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. We are talking about technology which is medium-speed engine. They can be running on a base load month after month, 24 hours a day and month after month. Or they can also be used for the intermediate requirement, for a few hours, for 10 hours or 16 hours in a day, because of the flexibility it has. And then here we are talking of a larger capacity. And today in the Electricity Act, there is a provision that we can look at a group captive situation, where a residential complex, the residents have a part in the equity of the power generating company. You can have a special purpose company of 26% plus, and they undertake to consume 51% of the energy produced by that power station, and then they get a reliable power for their use. And balance 49% today can be traded. There are very successful energy exchanges which are available today, like IEX and all. So what happens that the consumer, like you and me, get reliable power. Then me and you can also hold an equity in that generation station, and we get the reliable power at a good price, reasonable price, and end of the year there can be some bonanza for us in terms of the return on the equity what we get. And this model is, in fact, today it is possible as per the Electricity Act, and we are working on that, how to really put it on the ground. But the time has come when the builders and societies need to really look at it seriously. So instead of being a slave of the problem or issues what we have, we become the master in terms of finding a solution to solve it.
In the long term, sir, what would be the cost of electricity coming from such a plant, and given the fact that you'll have additional accruals from trading of this electricity, selling of the surplus electricity, how much does it work out to be on an average levelized tariff over a period of say 10 years?
You see, it quite a bit depends on the price of the fuel, because that is a major component what we have. But looking at the pricing of gas, what it is visible today, I can say this much, that it will be much more economical than what it is today. Today, for example, there are places, let's say in Gurgaon, where consumers are paying 9, 10, 11 rupees a unit. Now this will be what I'm talking with this new concept of distributed generation. It could be half of this. In fact, we did a pan-India survey basically to find out that what is the real cost of power a consumer like you and me are paying. And we found that barring Bombay, where the people are charged reliability charges of 40 to 45 paisa a unit, all other places, they are power cuts ranging between 1 hour to 5, 6, 7 hours. And the real cost of power what a consumer is paying is not just a grid tariff. I'm sure you would have been having alternator and batteries and voltage stabilizers and small generators and all. So when we total up that additional cost, our research shows that people are paying between 65 paisa per unit to as high as 6 rupees per unit. Levelized over and above the grid tariff what a person is paying for 100, 200, 300 units consumed in the household. So on one side, let's say a place where there is a 4 hours of power cut. Now that place he may be paying something like 2.5, 3 rupees over and above the grid price. Let's say the grid price is 4 rupees, so he's paying 7 rupees or 7.5 rupees a unit. Now vis-a-vis that, the cost of generation from the group captive plant, where you and me are also part of the equity holder in that plant at a very nominal price, what we'll dole out end of the month will be much less as compared to what we're doing out today. So it's a truly win-win-win situation. Country gets advantage of additional capacity which comes up by this way, and it's environment friendly, it's more efficient, and then you and me will end up saving some money with the reliable power of 24/7 comfort.